Today I fucked up by being very proud I wasn't addicted to smoking. I grew up in Eastern Europe where smoking was very much cool. So as teenagers, we would buy a pack of smokes and go for it. All my friends eventually turned into pretty regular smokers, except me. I could take it or leave it. This was when I was 16. Fast forward, I am 23, and smoking socially in my heavy smoker friend group. One of my friends starts saying how she wants to quit and is finding it very difficult. I retire by saying I am literally not addicted to smoking even though I've been smoking since I was 16. I can go days without it with not so much as a withdrawal symptom. I brag about it for a solid 10 minutes, how I just have a non-addictive personality and that probably addiction is very psychological for her. Maybe she should try nicotine patches or working with a therapist to overcome this issue. I finish my snobby speech, dramatically light a cigarette and take a drag. My friend just stares at me for a minute and says, "You do know you need to inhale when you take a drag, right?" Everyone laughs for a solid 5 minutes. I don't understand why. And it suddenly hits me. I haven't been inhaling for 8 years. I was smoking without actually inhaling the smoke. No shit, I wasn't addicted. 'Cause I was just putting smoke in my mouth and puffing it out. I wasted hundreds of dollars on cigarettes. I hid from my parents. I snuck around. For nothing. I never even smoked. Half win for not being a smoker. Big F up for being a smart ass. People make fun of me to this day. I mean, this OBV happened today. Too long did not read. I went on a righteous spiel about how even though I smoke I am not addicted to smoking. Turns out I never actually inhaled any smoke in the 8 years that I was a smoker. Baby edit. As is, usual on this sub. This didn't exactly, per se, happen today. Mods don't ban me. I just remembered this story and wanted to share. For all of you concerned. Both I and the friend in question quit smoking a while back. Me shortly after this incident, her a few months later. And yes, even though I was a dick, she's still my friend. Love you. Baby edit 2. Today I learned that even if you don't inhale, you get the nicotine hit through the mouth. That puts so much into perspective. Makes so much more sense why I continued to smoke how I did for as long as I did. Never too old to learn. Congrats, for not having a bitch of an addiction to kick. You should still quit. Not inhaling doesn't prevent you from getting mouth and throat cancer. Consider yourself lucky that you didn't have to go through years of addiction and failed attempts at quitting, all of which are soul-crushing. After smoking for 45 years and trying to quit many times, I can finally, and proudly, say that I did it. I have been nicotine-free for almost 10 years. Former U.S. President Bill Clinton, when confronted about his previous marijuana use, said, "I smoked, but I did not inhale." Congratulations, you followed the example of a U.S. president. Similar story to my friend hitting my THC vape pen, and after 3 to 4 hits he says he doesn't feel it and says he might be immune to it. But after he said that, I watched him take a drag and he didn't inhale. After I told him that, the next hit had him coughing and 10 minutes later he was higher than a kite. What the hell? Puffing is still smoking. The amount of nicotine mouth is able to pick up by itself is just way lower than what lungs could do. Maybe you should try cigars for better taste though. I mean, if you don't want to quit entirely now. Plus your mouth still absorbs the nicotine. That's how you smoke cigars, actually. If you were going to get addicted you likely would have already, even not fully inhaling it. That is not a fuck up. You just discovered you saved yourself from an awful addiction. The real foo is being such a condescending piece of shit to your friend when they were vulnerable. Go apologize, and then go laugh with them at your own silliness. And never smoke again. You have a choice now. Today I fucked up by joking about masturbating to a girl I know in a group chat and becoming the school clown. Disclaimer. This happened when I was in school. When I was a teenager, I was incredibly horny, and really liked this girl who we'll call A. I had an identical twin we'll call B, and I was in lots of classes together with A and B. I was talking to B a lot in science class, and she even had a nickname for me. Things were going great. One day, in a group chat with my friends, I said, "Look, I just nutted to A," during a conversation, as a joke. I want to provide the context that this was meant to be a joke, and that our group was going through a weird ironic humor stage, but even for that, I'll admit this was taking it to a new level. People of course took screenshots and started spreading it, but not to an unmanageable extent. At the time, one of my friends was doing this bit on Instagram called Instagram Awards, which was basically a compilation of memes made about our school. A couple of days after this incident, he made a new episode of this with a meme about me saying, "Look, I just nutted to A." It fucking blew up. The next day I walked into school, everyone fucking knew. People looked at me differently, girls avoided me in the halls, people laughed at me, and of course, I wasn't talking to B at our science table anymore. For the next few years of school, although I tried to put this incident behind me, people kept bringing it up. I was always just that kid who nutted to A. A and B purposefully planned routes in the halls to avoid me, specifically to avoid me. I'm not actually a creep, but I'll admit the joke was a severe lapse in judgment. Basically, I fucked up. Too long did not read. Today I fucked up by joking about masturbating to a girl, which ruined my reputation for years. Edit. Feels good to get this off my chest. The majority of people at my school did not support me, but apparently most of Reddit does? I honestly don't think I was in the right here, but there's nothing I can do to change things now. Man, I'm so glad I'm too old to have grown up with social media. This is exactly the sort of gaffe I would have made. I was always just that kid who nutted to A. A and B purposefully planned routes in the halls to avoid me, specifically to avoid me. I'm going to bet that A and B heard plenty of jokes about you nutting to A also. Social media makes teenagers' lives exponentially more difficult. I can't imagine having to have dealt with all this shit when I was a kid. Your friend took it too far. What happens in the group chat should stay in the group chat. Now that enough time has passed, and I hope you can be honest, did you nut to A? I'ma break it to you, cause those ain't friends. Friends don't spread your shit through school. Find better people. Nothing good ever comes from sharing to what one nuts. Even public figures and celebrities, as one of my high school classmates found out when he declared his fondness for one Australian news presenter lady. Remember when class clown was like, a positive term socially speaking? Today I fucked up. I stupidly cost my company money. I, 41 male, was up getting my kids off to school. I didn't sleep well and hadn't had my coffee yet, so just trying to get them squared away so I could get back home and try to start the day off okay. I work for a rapidly growing tech startup as a manager, and have been with the company for 9 months. I'm eager to impress the founders of the company, as I see this as a great opportunity, and I'm trying to grow my role as the company expands. As I'm dropping the kids off, I notice that I have both an email and a text from the CEO. He and I have a good rapport and have had some enjoyable conversations on both a personal and professional level, but don't cross paths terribly often at work since I oversee the day-to-day operations and he's usually trying to grow the business and keep the board of directors happy. His email said that he was stuck in a high-priority meeting with a very large potential customer, and would be texting me shortly. Then the text said that he needed a quick favor, so I responded by asking what I could do to help. Here's where I F you, and all you reading this will likely be able to detect what's up immediately. He said he forgot to pick up some gift cards he was going to use as an incentive for the potential new customers, and asked if I could grab a few before the meeting ended in about 45 minutes. I figure he wants me to grab a few and bring them into the office, so I say sure, I can stop by a Target on my way to work. I get to Target, and he texts that he need 5 $100 Google Play cards. Once again, this somehow doesn't sound the alarm bells in my head, because a major component to what we do as a business involves issuing and deploying mobile devices to customers. So I figured the cards would be to help set up the new devices with the necessary premium apps and stuff. As I'm about to check out, he texts, "Wait, I actually need 10, not 5. He then tells me that there's no time for me to bring them into the office, so just scratch off the backs and send him pics of the codes. Me, groggy and slightly annoyed. Isn't this work for an admin assistant? Comply. Immediately upon sending the codes, it dawns on me. Somehow this scammer successfully spoofed the CEO's phone number and email address, had a believable looking email signature, knew his full name, my full name, and knew I reported to him, and concocted a not too implausible story. So now it's 9 a.m. I'm sitting in the Target parking lot, missing an actual work meeting at this point, and I have to call both my director and the company's financial controller and tell them I just put $1,000 on the company credit card so I could send gift cards to a scammer. The money isn't a huge deal, even for a small startup. $1K is a small amount. I used to work for an energy utility, and if you fell for a fish scam with them, you potentially could be responsible for having our electric grid or nuclear power plants compromised. But I'm so goddamn embarrassed. I've never once been scammed. My radar is typically very tuned for this sort of thing. It's a small company, and people talk, so now I feel like every time I walk in I've got a stamp on my forehead that says, sucker. Too long did not read. I sent $1,000 of my company's money to a scammer and now feel ashamed every time I come to the office. Let the $1,000 away, they have your CEO's mail and phone along with your company structure. Solve that issue first. Ha. One of our office managers did something similar a couple years back. Our CEO does not want gift cards from you, became a common phrase when there's cybersec training. As your boss, I'm not mad. But I do actually need a $2,000 Visa gift card. Can you get one and PM me the number and security code? I'll pay you tomorrow. Not that horrible. It is a good lesson for the company to train on phishing scams in the future with your story showing how in-depth a scammer can go to build your trust. This is a really popular phishing attempt at the moment. I'd never seen it prior to 2021 and now I see it every month. All InfoSec teams should be briefing their employees about stuff like this on a regular basis. Lol, this probably only worked because you have a company card. They tried this exact scam on me. First, I barely knew the CEO of my company. They had to email me the CEO's phone number to text them, and I would have had to use a personal card. So not only did it sound fishy from the start, there was no way I was putting my own money on the line. I work in the cybersecurity industry. This is super common, and these guys make bank doing it. So don't feel bad. We once had to HR person, update, a physician's direct deposit info via an email. Guy had nearly 2 months' pay and a $250K bonus get sent to the scammer's account. Never got it back, obviously. It could have been so much worse. Lol. Plot twist. The CEO is actually just embezzling money and using, "Oh no I got hacked," as an excuse. Today I fucked up by being a designated driver for my sister. So my sister gets super drunk at the local bar and I'm the DD. A bunch of people were going to drive drunk, really drunk, so I gave them all rides home. We all decided to go to Waffle House before taking them home. While there, my sister's boyfriend is passed out in the back of my car. My sister decides to stay with him so the rest of us go into Waffle House. A few minutes later, a drunk woman who has been riding with me, never seen her before until tonight, asks where my sister is, and we can't find her. I wake her boyfriend up and he is confused. I ride around looking and she wasn't answering her phone. About 10 minutes later, she texts me and says she's by a lake, but doesn't know where she is. She finally tells me she's in the neighborhood behind Sunny's. I drive back there and I can't find her. The owner came out of their house with guns drawn and told us to stay put because police are on the way. Police show up, I tell them what happened, and we all went to look for her and found her at BK. Then my sister's boyfriend told the cop to fuck off and almost went to jail. Oh, and I got the drunk woman's number. That might become a different today I fucked up post later on. Too long did not read. My drunk sister runs away from Waffle House. I almost get shot looking for her, police come. My sister's boyfriend almost gets arrested, and I have questionable taste in women. Nah, you didn't fuck up. You did the right thing and stayed sober. That said, there's nothing like hurting drunk people to make you rethink your next night out. Waiting for the next post about the drunk woman. Almost worth having a Find My Friend app if you know you are heading out as a group for drinks. Makes it easier to track them down if they clearly have no idea where they have wandered off to. This really would make a great movie. Heart. As a sober individual who gets to be the sober cab frequently, I learned quick to never make side stops. It's like herding cats. Also, great story. The owner came out of their house with guns drawn and told us to stay put because police are on the way. The owners forced you to stay at gunpoint and the cops had no problem with that? I would have a serious problem with that. Sounds like a great time. Honestly, if you're the DD and someone's passed out, it best to everyone home instead of making stops. If you gotta get food, go through a drive-thru. Good for you for being the DD, but don't leave a man behind.